Hey, you guys, just wanted to come on and share some tips and best practices on our streaming rig here. Our little broadcast rig, we run Switcher Studio for broadcasting, and this is what we use to get our services out to the world. So, one important thing immediately that we're missing that I need to address. This adapter right here is your best friend. You see, this charges the iPad as well as gets the mix, the broadcast mix from our console over there onto the iPad. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this in. Should fit right in. So you see the interface. This is an audio interface. It's going to light up. And whoever's here, I have a few things to ask of them. First of all, I would like for them to have these headphones on. If you have your own headphones, you are absolutely more than welcome to unplug this cable and plug in your own headphones. But the reason why is because I would like for them to be able to hear the mix. If they need to give the sound engineer over here some tips on how to, or not tips, but just feedback on how to, improve the broadcast mix. If it's too bassy, if it's got vocals way too high up, if there's not enough music, if you can't really hear the pastor speaking well, yeah, you can either have an iPad over here with the Consoles app on it, which I will share in the description. And there's gonna be a video on how to get connected to that. But you can either have an iPad here with the app on it to really mix the broadcast yourself, so you can double as the broadcast audio engineer and the streaming person. But yes, regardless of what you choose to do, I would like for the person running the broadcast sitting in this seat to have these headphones on, especially all the way through worship, so they can be listening to that mix and making sure that it sounds good for online. So also another thing about the audio interface, I want you to just make sure these two knobs here, I'm gonna try to get here we go. So these two knobs right here, these two guys, please do your best to make sure that they are sitting at about the same level. I know there's not a number here for you, but just visually do your best to make sure that they match and that they're hitting at the same level. Because if they're not, for example, if this was like this is your left side and this is your right side, left and right. So if it was like this, the right side would be a lot hotter, louder than the left side. So people will be listening and wondering, why am I hearing it more in my right ear? So please do, if you can, just try to match up those notches there visually as best you can to make sure both sides are coming in even. This is your headphone volume right here, where it says, not monitor, but just this smaller guy right here, that's your headphone volume. Okay, now finally onto Switcher. We have a very specific way of how we do these broadcasts. So, a couple of things we want to go over. One, there are videos that we play at certain times that we really want to nail the timing on. So you have to be communicating with the person running sound. You have to be communicating with the person running presenter right here. Whenever we fire the countdown should start 5 minutes before the start of the service. And yeah, we just want to make sure that we're doing the same things on here that we're doing out there, So I would say we start the broadcast about 10 to 15 minutes before the start of the service. And what's gonna happen is we're gonna make sure that when the broadcast starts, this mute button right here is lit up solid blue. This is what it looks like when it's not muted, so audio is passing through this guy. And this is what it looks like when it is muted, so audio is not passing through this interface here. And when I say audio, I just mean the mix coming from the console is coming to this, and this is coming into this. So if this button right here, that's in the center of the frame, if I can focus, when this looks like that, this iPad is not getting audio from this interface, okay? So that's what it should be like when we start the broadcast. And we should be playing this video called pre-show when the broadcast starts. So pretty much before you hit this button, I shouldn't hit it now because it'll actually go live. But before you hit this button right here, go ahead and fire this video. It'll say, welcome to the gathering on it. It looks like this. It's got some music, as you can see. Now, another thing I should mention, you can kind of hear the music a little bit out of these headphones. Make sure your headphone volume isn't too loud during the message so people can't hear the music. But yes, So this video that says welcome to the gathering on it has music. Even though audio is not coming from the interface right here, audio can still play if you have videos. So it's just showing different slides here. And this video will loop by itself. But when the countdown starts in the room, here's where the communication really needs to be strong, you know, with you guys as a team. So whenever we fire the countdown for the room, as you'll be getting ready to see here, we need to make sure that on stream, on the broadcast, we fire that at just about the same time. So you can see the same video, same look, same theme, same everything. We want to, you know, play those pretty much at the same time on the broadcast and hear from presenter on the screens in the room. We also have another video called Begins Now that plays right out of the countdown, you know, so we'll play that when the countdown hits 0. It's just a video that, you know, shows our church a little bit and lets people know that the broadcast begins now. So when Begins Now ends, I'm actually gonna let it play through so you can see and hear what's going on. This is what it looks like. So pretty much when this, you know, goes black, we want to take our camera. So our cameras are going to live up here. I don't have other cameras to connect right now, but our different camera shots will live up here before it says pre-show. Everything on top of pre-show is pretty much live and in the room being captured on camera. So you'll be able to switch through your different camera shots. Willie and Pastor Chris actually are the main ones who set that up, so shout out to them. But those will be up here, you'll be able to see them. And as well, we have a couple of lower third name tags right here. Phone's having a really hard time focusing, but you see a couple of lower third name tags right here. So, for example, when Pastor Chris gets on the stage, when he first takes the stage and he's getting ready to start preaching, we'll press this. Why? Because it says his name on it. It says Senior Pastor Gathering Place. It's going to go away by itself, and we don't need to put that back up. Once we do it one good time at the beginning of the message, it'll come up, it'll fade in, it'll look real nice. You see a timer on there. It will go away all by itself, fade out real nice, and you'll be good to go. So that's what happens for the start of, sorry, I got ahead of myself. We have name tags up here, but this is where your cameras will be. You'll switch your cameras during worship. And then right after worship, we have someone who comes on the stage and does different announcements and just leads the moment for the room. But we have something different for the broadcast. So we have pre-show, we have countdown, and under here we have what's called post-worship. Post-worship. So this is what we're going to play right after worship ends in the room. It's a video that basically says, you know, did you enjoy worship? Do you want to hear more? And it basically just shows a video of our live recording and plays one of our songs. And it just shows people a QR code that they can use to get our EP that we released. As well, it talks about giving, but we're gonna keep this on the screen for the entire time that the person doing announcements is on stage. We're only going to take it back to the cameras in the room, which again, where do those live? They live up here before the heading that says pre-show, all the way on top. So you just scroll on the left side of the screen, make sure you don't fire any graphics or videos by accident. So you're gonna go back to the cameras in the room only when the person who's doing the announcements on stage says, introducing Pastor Chris or whatever, Pastor whoever's speaking. But only when the person doing the message gets on stage should we go back to the cameras in the room, which again, live up here, all right? And when they take the stage, when they start talking, that is when we will throw up the name tag. And you know, it'll be with the camera on there, but it'll go away by itself and then we'll be good to go. Just switch the cameras, right? So down here, way at the bottom, we also just have a couple of logo slides you can choose from just in case you need a quick like fallback or you need to fix something, change a setting or something, you can have something to go to. And also the most important thing, do not do what I did and forget to unmute, okay? So at the times where we are looking at the cameras in the room on the broadcast, this should be unmuted. And again, when I say unmuted, it means the audio that's coming to this interface is passing through to Switcher Studio. So that means they're hearing the mics and the drums and the tracks and everything in here. That's going to the console. It's coming from the console to the interface, and it's coming from the interface to Switcher. And when this, this microphone icon up here looks like this, it doesn't have the solid blue, shape around it. When it looks like this, it's just the mic. That means it's coming through and we have sound. But that should only be the case. I left a countdown playing, so we're gonna turn that off. Sorry about that. But yes, so we should always have this unmuted when worship is going on, when the message is going on. Pretty much anytime we have the cameras in the room on the screen, this should be unmuted. All right, so that is pretty much it for Switcher Studio. Now for a couple of things to look out for. If you happen to encounter anything that, looks like the camera's froze or looks like, things are frozen, what you can do here is go down to, on the bottom of the screen here, there's this icon that looks like a camera. This is your video input list. So let's say I have a display on here or a camera on here. This is where all your cameras will live. If there's a blue check mark, that means it's on there, it's a part of the list, we're good. That means you have it. And so if it looks like it froze or it looks like it's not moving, all you have to do is click on it. It'll go away, it'll disappear from your list over here, and click on it again, just bring it back, and it should work fine. We actually dealt with this yesterday in church, and just taking it away and putting it back fixed the issue just fine. Okay, so that's something you might deal with. Also, something I'll tell you is there's another icon down here that looks kind of like a wipe. I don't know what you'd call that, but something I'll tell you guys is be intentional with your transitions. When you're going between moments in the room and moments on video, be intentional with your transitions. You don't have to get crazy and do stuff like, you don't need to do a star wipe and you don't need to do, a whip pan. We don't have to do that type of thing. If the moment calls for it and you really feel it, then sure, by all means. But I would just say stick with a simple cross dissolve. And when you're going from video to video, it'll fade real nice. When you're going from, between videos and the room, the cameras, they'll fade real nice. Yeah, so be intentional about your transitions. If you're cutting through cameras and you feel like it really needs a hard cut, it wouldn't make sense for the energy of the song, wouldn't make sense for the energy of the song to do a slow fade, set it to cut. That means it'll just hard cut, just like that. If it's a slow worship song or if it's a really heartfelt moment in the middle of the message, change it to fade or change it and do like that, Or not fade really, but cross dissolve, either one of these, whatever. You'll learn as you sit down and you practice with it, you'll learn what all these do and you'll learn what's appropriate for the moment and what's not. You can go into this blue arrow right here and you can change a couple of settings. You can change your duration, if you want it to be longer or shorter, you have the ability to do that. But yeah, totally. Those are all available to you. And another thing I'll tell you is be sure not to exit the app. Don't hit the home button, because if you go back home, you'll notice it kind of resets the app. And of course, that will end your broadcast. So please, please, please do not exit Switcher Studio once we have begun the stream, because that will end it and we'll have to start it over, and nobody wants that. So don't exit the app. Please don't. And finally, just one more thing is, be sure that you're communicating with the sound engineer, the person running the sound over here, when you're going to swap to a video in Switcher, or when you're going to go back to the cameras in the room, because that will give them the chance to fade down the broadcast mix, the sound that's coming from here to here. That will give them a chance to fade that down so the audio doesn't just cut in and cut out. It has a gentle fade. So that's just another one of the communication things you guys will have to nail down. But yes, be sure that you're communicating with the sound person. Hey, getting ready to go to the post-worship video after worship. So you'll tell him you're going, he will fade down the broadcast mix, he'll give you a thumbs up, and then as soon as he gives you that thumbs up, boom, go to post-worship, We'll be good. So, yeah, guys, that's pretty much it as far as what you'll need to do for running the broadcast here. So, quick recap. Make sure you wear these headphones so you can hear the mix. You know, you don't need to have your volume too loud. But my request is please, 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 especially all the way through worship, wear these headphones. Make sure that you are able to hear the broadcast. And if something sounds bad, if something doesn't feel right to you, please communicate that to the sound engineer so they can make that change. Or if you want to have an iPad here with the Mix app on it, you can control it yourself. That's totally fine. That'd be better. But yes, just make sure you're communicating. Make sure that you're intentional about your transitions. You know, cross dissolve, nice slow transition back to the cameras. You know, also here's your input list. If something seems like it froze, no problem. Just if it's checked, click on it to uncheck it and put it right back. And if you need to throw to one of these logos right here to give you some time to do that, it's perfectly fine. That's what they're here for. Also, they just look really good. But yes, that is pretty much your crash course for Switcher Studio. Okay, what you do as the broadcast person is essential to what we're doing here as a church. And so I want to make sure there's always somebody here. I want to make sure they are equipped to be able to get through these different, pieces of content and make sure that they're timely with what they're doing. And also, just make sure they're confident in what they're doing and that they can make the changes they need to make in the right time. So thank you very much for watching. Please reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'm grateful for you guys. And yeah, let's do it. See you in the next one.